Assalamualaikum and a very good day. For the presentation 2, we choose automotive component which is control arm and a sway bar. My name is SYAHMAH binti SHAFIE and my partner is KHAIRUL AIMAN bin HAMID. First, I would like to talk about the material selection that we use to fabricate the control arm and a sway bar. For control arm, we choose titanium because its properties which are a combination of high strength, toughness and corrosion resistance. Then, for the sway bar, we choose aluminium because its property is a lightweight and corrosion resistant. First, I will introduce about a control arm. What is a control arm? Control arm, also known as a lower arm or upper arm, sometimes called a arm, are the core of front suspension system. One end connects to the wheel assembly and the other end connects to the framework of a car. The upper control arm connects to the uppermost area of the front wheel and the lower control arm connects to the lowermost area of the area from the wheel, with both arms that attaching to the frame of the car. In a simple term, control arms are the link that connect your front wheel to the car. So, how does the control arm work? Okay, for a labeling A, each control arm is connected to a vehicle frame with two control arm bushings. And for B is for a labeling B is a steel spindle. The opposite end of the control arm is attached to a steel spindle. The spindle is what the front wheel is bolted to. On non-strut equipped vehicle, the spindle is attached to both the upper and lower control arm with a ball joint. The ball joint is a steel ball enclosed in a steel socket that allows the spindle and front wheel to rotate left and right and allow the wheel to move up and down following the road surface. Next, for the line C is a coil spring. Sandwiched between the control arm and vehicle frame, positioned in a spring socket, is a heavy steel coil spring that supports the weight of your vehicle and provide a cushion against bumps. And for the labeling D is a mount bushing. To combine the two opposite motion on each end of the control arm, the arms are tied on the frame side to pivot up and down on the control arm bushing. On the opposite end, the control arm is tied to the spindle and front wheel with upper and lower ball joint. The coil springs support the weight of the car and damps the shock of road surface. So, this is how does the control arm works. Next, based on the picture, I will explain about how a control arm is made. Picture number 1, the superheated the material. We superheated the aluminium or steel material or another material that we choose to high temperature until become a glowing hot. And the picture number 2 is a stamping process. We stamp the part using high compression force to compress the material into shape using a precision die. And the number 3, we let it cooling down naturally. And for the heat treatment, it undergo heat treatment to increase the mechanical properties of the lower arm much stronger. Next, we go to the coating process, which is coating the lower arm with anti-rust coating. So the final product of the control arm is this. The second component I will introduce is sway bar. So what is a sway bar? Sway bar, also called a stabilizer bar, are used to keep vehicle from rolling over. It is a U-shaped steel bar that is connected to each of the vehicle front wheel. When vehicle goes around a turn, the vehicle body rolls to one side or its weight shift to one side. When this happens, the vehicle is experience body roll, or we call it as a sway. The sway bar will control each wheel suspension to even out the vehicle body roll and keep vehicle more level and in control. So, this meaning that the weight of vehicle is transferred move to the outside wheel. The suspension on outside wheel compress. The two wheel the two wheel on the inside of the turn wheel rise, or the suspension wheel extend. How does the sway bar work? Then, based on the picture, I will explain that a sway bar works by resisting the twist force applied to it when one wheel moves up or down compared with the other wheel, and weight transfer from one side to the vehicle to the others when we are turning a corner. And in that resistance, the bar tries to keep the wheel as level as possible. The sway bar connects vehicle suspension component and is mounted to the suspension control arm. It worth noting that sway bar run through bushing to ensure they don't move up and down, and they can only twist. The result of the action is that the vehicle begins to level up, thus minimize the roll action when concerned. So this is how does the sway bar work. Next, I will explain based on the picture how a sway bar is made. First step in sway bar manufacturing is cutting the steel of length. Second, then the ends are set inside a 2000-degree natural gas forge in for several minutes until they reach the 1500 until 1600 degree required for forging process. Third is coining flatten process. Coining flatten the end of the bar and punch a hole where an end lines will connect to the vehicle. After that, fresh out of coining and still red hot, will quickly move to get first bend. There are two forming process. One for adjustable spring rate depending on which hole is used to attach to vehicle, and each sway bar application requires its own forming die. After the forming process, bar go back into forge. This time, whole thing is heated until reach 1500 until 1600 degree, then go to the bending process. After the bending process, bar is dropped into quench tank. A similar heating process and hydraulic press is used for creating head less spring. The function of the quench tank is hold thousands of gallons of oil, and it's surrounded by a water jacket that keep it at proper temperature. For the heat treatment is to improve its strength, toughness, and stiffness. A part is pulled every 2 hours to test for hardness to ensure the hardening and tempering process is working properly. Then the last picture show the part that have placed on the rack and dust with the powder coating. Okay, now we move to our drawing, sway bar and control arm. So this is the long bar is a sway bar, and the other ones is control arm. This is our drawing we made by the Katia B5. The analysis, they have two analyses have been made after complete the drawing. One is stress analysis and the other one is position load. Okay, the above picture is before deformation, and the below is after deformation. The full result will be submit into a PDF file. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Shama. Our first part for the automotive part is sway bar. The chamber is located between the suspension and the car chassis, and another part is uh, lower arm. It is also connected on the suspension and to the chassis. And for these two parts, the assembly should look like this. This is the two of the parts connected in this section. And to remind you that this should be the joint for the suspension or the absorber. And this is for the analysis part, the review. Uh, for the two parts, all these two parts is the material is aluminium, and for the analysis, for the analysis simulation should be like this.